Hey guys, what's up? My name is Tristan Pearlevin and welcome back to another video. Today is going to be another kind of thinking video where I want to address an issue that I personally believe is going on in Bitcoin and just generally cryptocurrency right now. I want you to put yourself in a perspective before we go into this video of the average person who just heard about Bitcoin. You know, they heard about Bitcoin and they heard that it's growing pretty much exponentially, yeah. And it's a transaction medium. They may not know that it's not that great anymore as a transaction medium, but it is. You know, the advertising is all around it being a good transaction medium. And so they're probably going to go to where? Probably look up Bitcoin on Google, maybe check out bitcoin.com because .com is generally the official .com. It's the official site for something, generally speaking. And so bitcoin.com has a good, introduction to Bitcoin. It's a good one. It's really good, actually. And that pizza's funny. I actually never noticed that. It gets you a good introduction to Bitcoin. But one of the issues I have with it is that bitcoin.com isn't the official Bitcoin site. Bitcoin.org is technically the official Bitcoin site. It was the one that was proposed. It was the one that was in the proposal that Satoshi Nakamoto wrote in the original Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer cash electronic cash system proposal. It was basically it's run by the Bitcoin core team. It's the official one. It's for the official Bitcoin. This one is for Bitcoin, but it's run by someone called Roger Ver, who is heavily pushing Bitcoin Cash. There's nothing wrong with that. Bitcoin Cash, for those of you who don't know, was a hard forked coin from Bitcoin. It was hard forked off, meaning that if you have one Bitcoin, you would now have one Bitcoin and one Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash was hard forked off, and its basic idea was, well, Bitcoin isn't a good transaction medium because it's got some really slow payments, upwards of sometimes hour or 2 hours, from my experience, and the fees are ridiculous. $10, $20, I think it's like an average of $7 a fee, which is ridiculous. That's terrible. So if you want to send I know I wanted to pay for a $20 game on Steam, and the fee was going to be $10. That's ridiculous. But that aside, he's trying to push Bitcoin Cash, and he owns Bitcoin.com. And Bitcoin Cash is directly competing with Bitcoin.com. As some of you may know, Bitcoin immediately went from, when Bitcoin Cash was starting to surge, because it went from about $600 to about $2,200, Bitcoin was crashing at the exact same rate, which shows that most likely a lot of people saw the potential in Bitcoin Cash, because I believe the crash happened about here, where basically SegWit 2x was canceled, and SegWit 2x was a planned hard fork, which was going to have a block size that was 2 megabytes per block, rather than Bitcoin's default 1 megabyte. So people were like, a lot of people are probably like, yeah, it's good. We want to increase the block size so more transactions can be processed on the blockchain. That's good. We want that. But then SegWit 2x was canceled, and Bitcoin went up a little bit, and then it just kind of went down. And at the same time, why were people, where did their money go? That's the question. Where did their money go? Did they just pull it out, like put it into US dollar? Did they put it in another cryptocurrency? Well, a lot of people think, and not even think, but just look at it. A lot of that money surged into Bitcoin Cash because Bitcoin Cash was the next great thing. So if we look at the last month, you could see here at the exact same time, pretty much, a bunch of money was getting flowed into Bitcoin Cash. And on November 12th at 6:39 versus over here, November 12th at 6:19, Bitcoin hit its lowest and Bitcoin Cash hit its peak. So that means that a lot of people were pulling out of Bitcoin, putting into Bitcoin Cash, because theoretically, if the 2 megabyte block size fork or SegWit 2x fork was canceled, what's the next best thing? Bitcoin Cash has an 8 megabyte block size limit. I don't know if it's an actual limit, but it has 8 megabyte blocks, at least right now. So that's the next best thing. So people are pouring money into it. And so now you have basically Bitcoin, where it's like, it's a really good store of value, but a terrible transaction medium. Be flat honest. And then you have Bitcoin Cash, which is really growing, and it's a better transaction medium. But the issue with it is the branding. The branding is directly trying to replace Bitcoin. And I wouldn't have an issue with that if it wasn't inherently misleading. So here I'm going to go over 2 subreddits. So basically, first we had the Bitcoin official website, Bitcoin Core, and then we had Bitcoin.com website, which is about Bitcoin, but it's run by someone who is heavily interested in pushing Bitcoin Cash. Just kind of a conflict of interest. And these coins are completely different, like I said. So it's like you can't be for one of the, you can't be for both. I try to be for both, but you pretty much can't. It's extremely difficult. And then you have r/Bitcoin, which is heavily based on just Bitcoin conversation, Bitcoin Core, that is. And then you have r/BTC, which is pretty much heavily focused around Bitcoin Cash conversation. There's other things I could talk about here because it's not as focused as r/Bitcoin, but it's still focused around this. So anyone new getting into the space, they might go to Bitcoin.com and they're like, okay, I'll check it out here, and they don't know that they are basically reading from someone that doesn't necessarily have Bitcoin itself, Bitcoin Core's best interest in mind. And then also the Bitcoin wallet, I believe by default supports Bitcoin Cash, but I think it also supports Bitcoin. But then, so it's just kind of a misrepresentation of branding, which isn't all that bad on its own. But then you have the 2 Bitcoin subreddits, where it's r/Bitcoin is pretty much the official Bitcoin subreddit. It's the default, like I said, it's Bitcoin. It's got the actual name. Whereas r/BTC for some would be considered the BTC subreddit or the Bitcoin subreddit. Over here, it's pretty much all just a lot of people that believe that Bitcoin Cash will become Bitcoin and get the actual official Bitcoin name. They believe it so much to the point where some people actually are already calling it just Bitcoin. Now, most of the time, like, they're getting downvoted and all that kind of stuff because it's not factually correct, but it just, a lot of people are misrepresenting what Bitcoin is and isn't in order to push the narrative that Bitcoin Cash is going to overtake Bitcoin, which whether you believe in the technology or not doesn't really matter. My point is not to like shame anyone on here. I just, the whole thing with these inconsistencies is going to create a lot of confusion in this space. And where there's confusion and uncertainty, Bitcoin tends to fall, or just any cryptocurrency tends to fall. And this is kind of leading up to like me thinking it's just too confusing for people to be in the space right now. The basic people, I'm talking about people that only know Bitcoin. They're just now getting into Bitcoin. They're looking into it and they're interested in it. They have the interest, but there's all these inconsistencies with the namings. Which one is the real Bitcoin? There's 2 different Bitcoins. Which one's the real one? One has the Bitcoin name. One has the Bitcoin name with a cash at the end. But which one's the real one? Excluding also all those other Bitcoin forks, which like Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Red. I don't know if the Bitcoin Red was a fork, but there's Bitcoin Red. There's Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Unlimited, tons of other stuff. It's like, what's the real Bitcoin? And different people have different answers. That's the biggest issue. There's this huge division in the community where it's like the real Bitcoin Core is technically right now, as of this video, the real Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't necessarily the real Bitcoin. In different people's eyes, it's super confusing. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed and fixed as soon as possible, because it's going to make it difficult for new people to get in the space, and it might cause a lot of issues in the next couple months with a lot of things, honestly. I can't really speak for the future of it. It's really uncertain, but I've only been in this space for a month, but we've never seen anything like this with the Bitcoin Cash surge, where Bitcoin almost, was tanking and Bitcoin Cash was surging. We've never seen anything like this, and it's super unsettling to see this kind of new turf, because it's based, I understand where everyone's coming from, but we have to really come together and try and figure out how we can remain consistent. Not necessarily agree on the fact that, okay, well, we'll just cancel Bitcoin Cash and join Bitcoin, or we'll just cancel Bitcoin and join Bitcoin Cash. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, we need to find common ground and agree that we have to find a way to fix this, because this is going to be a big issue down the road, in my opinion. I don't know how. I'm not going to try and stand here on a high horse, but I just definitely think it's important to understand. And yeah, and so I would say, you know, check out these two subreddits. If you use Reddit at all and you're interested in Bitcoin, check out these two. Take each with a grain of salt, because they're both, in my opinion, heavily biased towards one or the other, or against one or the other. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you didn't enjoy it, hit the down like button. I don't know. Leave a comment with your thoughts down below. I know this video is kind of a little weird, a little vague, but this is something that I think really needs to be addressed, because I think it's a pretty big issue. It's more about an issue with the branding rather than the technology of Bitcoin. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.